Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the football podcast. Still a man down. We've got to get our people out there on the streets, boots on the ground. Live football games. Unfortunately, all these live games means man down. We miss you, Stu. We miss you. We hope you're enjoying live football, but we do miss you from the podcast. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a review, tell a friend, all of the good stuff that podcasting, comes with, brings, all of that. Anyway, I'll stop talking and we'll get on with some football podcast. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the football podcast.
Recording in progress.
She's not wrong, lads. And not only lads, lasses, lads and lasses, children, men, women, humankind, shall we say. Welcome in, everybody. It's your weekly football dose. Sadly, we are not back up to our full complement of four once again, as our esteemed Hull-based correspondent is, Hull-based as we speak. He's at the game that has just finished, which we will come to at the end. So, just myself, Middlesbrough fan, sadly, to bring you all the Middlesbrough news. Obviously, as we've said, the Hull arm will be dealt with by myself and the gents from what they can take us through. The Nottingham Forest arm, supplied by Mr. Matthew Moore this week. How are you, sir?
Good. Yeah, all right, yeah.
Excellent. And for how many more weeks will the Lincoln City arm be provided by Mr. Andrew Cook? How are you, sir?
Disappointed is maybe the
Oh no, that might be a little bit of a giveaway as to what the results are.
No, I'm just talking about my lot in life.
Oh, I see. Well, we'll get to that. So, Week 7 opened with Hull City versus Coventry City as a Friday night fixture that was not televised because Sky only had a game on. Mr. Woodmansey, I believe, using his season pass, was indeed in attendance for this with his two boys. And I'm sure if he was here to talk about it, he would tell us it was a fantastic 1-1 draw. I've watched the highlights back. Seemed like it was a pretty open game. Coventry took the lead. There was a corner knocked in from the right-hand side where Latabaudiere had the freedom of the box to plant his header straight past the Hull keeper. Hull had a chance to equalise in the first half when a free ball fell Aaron Connolly's way, and instead of tucking the ball inside the goal, he decided the best thing for him to do would be to put it just to the side of the goal, where it doesn't count for as many points. Silly Aaron. He would, of course, get the last laugh and the last word on me by popping up with a late equaliser for Hull City when a ball was clipped in from the left-hand side and he got his head on it with a cheeky sort of back header to loft it over the goalkeeper for a 1-1 draw. Sadly, Mr. Cook had gone for a 1-0 Hull win with the lap scoring the goal, so doesn't get himself any points. Mr. Cook, I've already done. So Mr. Moore had gone for a 2-2 draw. Gets a point for the draw. Sadly, has got 2-2, not 1-1. Does get himself a bonus point though, because he had got Connolly to score for Hull. Myself and Mr. Woodmansey both took 1-1 draws as our predictions. So 2 points there for ourselves. Very, very well done. I had Delap and Wright to score the goals. Mr. Woodmansey had Connolly and Palmer to score the goals, so he gets himself a bonus point right there. So after the first game, Mr. Cook sadly still yet to score. Myself and Mr. Moore, 2 points. Mr. Woodmansey, 3 points. Our second game of the week took us to Blackburn, where Blackburn Rovers took on Middlesbrough, and Blackburn were celebrating their 5,000th league game as a Football League club. Should have known, really. That tells you all you need to know. Big landmark game. Borough in town. What should we do? We'll give them the opening goal. And I believe this may be the first time I've known this phenomenon happen. So, I'm assuming you boys are familiar with the phenomenon now, where I say phenomenon, it makes it sound harsh. The situation, so the scenario now at a football game where, say, a supporter or someone close to the club has unfortunately passed away. The supporters normally will get sort of in touch with each other and sort of make it known that at a certain time during the game, so for example the 30th minute, for example, a round of applause will go around the ground as like a mark, as like a tribute to the supporter in question. I believe this may have been someone actually connected with the club from a Blackburn perspective. I didn't catch the name, so apologies to any Blackburn fans that might be taking part of the podcast this week. I didn't actually catch the name of the unfortunate supporter who passed away. But during the moment's applause, Blackburn scored. The ball was played through. I don't know the guy who was at the end of the assist. I wasn't paying attention because I was that pissed off. Just kind of played through the centre of the park, standard, as seems to be the case this season. Borough not putting up any sort of effort whatsoever. Ball played into Smodics on the edge of the box, where he turned and slotted it straight past the keeper. No real shame on Senny Dieng for not saving it, as it was pretty much the edge of the box. You're not really going to save many from that sort of area tying in. That's what it was at half time. Second half starts, more of the same. Smodics gets the ball into his feet on the edge of the box. No defender goes to close it down. He smashes the ball home for a 2-0 lead. Slightly further on into the second half, Johnny Howson broke into the box, picked out what looked at the time to be a horrendously offside Matt Crooks to tuck the ball away. Linesman, obviously, either really, really hates Blackburn or just decided to not use his eyes on this particular Saturday afternoon. Didn't raise his flag. It was 100% offside, 2 or 3 yards at least. But the goal stood. So Matt Crooks gets one back for the Borough. And the game kind of petered out from that point onwards. I think Borough had a couple more chances. Blackburn could have taken a further lead. But no more goals, so the game finishes in a 2-1 win to Blackburn. Middlesbrough still looking for their first league win of the season. Stuart gone for a 0-0 draw in this one, so sadly gets himself no points. Andy had gone for a 1-0 Middlesbrough win with a latte laugh goal. He also sadly gets no points. Matt had gone for a 1-1 draw with Buckley and Fours to get the goals. No points for him. I was the only sensible one who'd gone for a 1-0 Blackburn win with Hedges to score the goal, so I get myself a point for the result. Next up, it's Mr. Cook's team, and I assume you watched this game, Mr. Cook, to give us the rundown of all the highlights and all the goals that were scored in it.
I was otherwise engaged.
You didn't have the time to spend. You went to Lincoln, but you went to the market instead of going to the game?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I would. I could always tell. I could always tell with Mr. Cook. He's a creature of habit, no less. Let's put it that Lincoln City versus Carlisle United played out a 1-1 draw. I will just double check because I believe it was actually Carlisle who took the lead in this one, much to probably the surprise of, I dare say, Mr. Matthew Moore, who, as we know from the podcast last week, had said that Carlisle were not good when he'd seen them play against Port Vale. And I believe that was a correct assessment, was it not, Mr. Moore?
Oh yeah, they were not a good team, no.
Well, they obviously must have listened and thought, well, we're not going to take that line now. And Luke Plange, of all people, popped up in the 19th minute to open the scoring for Carlisle. Lincoln managed to get an equaliser in the 49th minute from Ethan Hamilton, but sadly there were no more goals in this one. This one petered out to a 1-1 draw. We'd all gone for varying degrees of Lincoln win, sadly, so none of us got points for the result. Stu had 1-0 with Mandrieu to score. Matt had 2-0 with Hackett, Fairchild and Bishop to score. Andy had 2-0 with Hackett, Fairchild and Duffy to score. And I had 2-0 with A. Smith and Hamilton to score. So no points for the result. But I managed to get myself a bonus point for the scorer. I didn't give a score update after the Blackburn game, so I'll give it now. 3 games in, Andy yet to score. Matt on 2 points, Stu on 3 points, myself on 4 points. And speaking of Mr. Moore, our next game of the week took us to the Monday Night Football, the first of 3 games that were televised for the rest of the week, when Nottingham Forest took on Burnley. How did this one play out in the end, Matt?
Well, I suppose in a way it's a bit of a disappointing 1-1 draw. I think from the reports and from what I saw of it, it sounded like Forest dominated quite a good chunk of the match. I think so. Going through the first half, I think Forest had a good few chances, tested their keeper. Burnley showed themselves to be quite open at the back. But Forest couldn't take advantage of it. I think the Burnley keeper did well. And just before half time, their left winger, who apparently caused Forest a lot of trouble all through the night, managed to get to the byline, cut it back. And, I mean, kind of luckily for Burnley, it looked like the striker kind of fluffed his shot. And it went to the other guy who then slotted it in the back of the net. So 1-0 to Burnley just before half time against them on a play. I think they grew in confidence and started the second half a bit better. But then Forest hit back on the hour mark, or about the hour mark, with a crossing from the right. And for one, you took it down, laid it back to Hudson-Odoi, who a deadline day signing, who curled it into the back of the net. It was absolutely cracking finish. And the game kind of didn't peter out into a draw. I think it kind of was a bit kind of rough and tumble. Forest might have got away with one with Sanderberg. They said it was a handball. I mean, I think the thing what you got to say is at the end of the day, it was handball. You know, intentional or not, handball. I think this is the thing. People are like, oh, it wasn't intentional. It's handball. You know, it's not whether you do it on purpose. You know,
I'll play devil's advocate here. I had this conversation with Panas at work on Tuesday lunchtime. I don't think it was handball, mainly because on the rules they've stated that the t-shirt line, as it were, so in theory, if you're wearing a short sleeve shirt or where a short sleeve shirt would come to an end, would constitute where the arm stops becoming the arm and it becomes like the armpit, which obviously you can control. You can control the ball with the armpit, I believe.
right?
I don't know if that's true, but if you actually look back on the replay, the ball kind of sort of like it packed him right on the edge of the sort of the t-shirt line.
Right.
So because it's like half and half, you can sort of argue it either way that it is handball or it's not handball. So I'll just throw that out as like a sort of an impartiality sort of perspective. You could make an argument either way.
This comes under the bracket of stupid rules that are coming into football at the moment, because look, you can see my arm. Oh, it's gone now because it's hidden under a t-shirt. It's like playing with a child, going, I've disappeared because you can't see my face. It's still your arm. Last time I checked, it's not. Because it's under your t-shirt, it's now part of your body. What a ridiculous rule this is. And people, see this where people bitch and moan about VAR, and it's got its faults, trust me. But previous to that, we bitched and moaned about them not getting the results right. I would hate to be a referee because rules are so fickle and to the minutiae of things that no wonder they're getting things wrong, because you look at it and you go, oh well, it is technically their arm, but they're wearing a t-shirt, so kind of thing. So are we going to say long sleeve t-shirts are now, the end of the t-shirt's the cuff, so they've not touched that with their arm because it's in a t-shirt, a long sleeve t-shirt. I mean, Jesus Christ. So it looked like handball to me. It looked like he redirected the ball. It took a nudge that took it away from McKenna, who was challenging him, that led to him being able to take the cross in. Where it hit him, I don't know. It looked like his arm. And by that I mean everything from the shoulder downwards, which is your arm. I'm not having a go at you on that one. I'm having a go at the rule makers on that one. I mean, Jesus Christ. So it kind of went out. So kind of goes out to a draw. They had a guy sent off for violent conduct. I presume, I haven't seen who it is who he was fouling. I think it was Ryan Yates. And we know how his ability to get under people's skin and get a sending off. But that elbow he chucked was vicious. And if that was against Marcus Rashford, we wouldn't see him for another 4 weeks, the way that guy goes down like a sack of shit.
So again, to play devil advocate, I'm the first person on this podcast who calls out Ryan Yates for being a shithouse and stuff like that. He took one full-blooded straight to the solar plexus, and probably could have made more of it. To be fair, that guy properly. You even see, like I said to Panas, I can understand if he's done that thing where to say like you sort of shrug the guy off like that.
Oh no, he stopped him through the elbow.
He was in contact with him, pulls his arm away, and bam, straight into the middle of his chest. So he knew exactly what he was doing, and he'll get the full 3-game ban for it. The stupid prick.
There was a serious amount of shithousing going on by Ryan Yates leading up to the incident as well. But yeah, it's not on, and you've got to learn. It's that harsh kind of thing of, you can tell that they were in the championship last year, because you might have got away with that one. You probably wouldn't, because it would have gone like on a video review after the game.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been sent off in the game, but he would have still got the retrospective back. Yeah, stuff like that. But I know.
So yeah, goes to a draw. I've seen a lot of people say it was 2 points dropped. Yeah, but we're kind of up on the deal at the moment anyway. So if someone said we got to the end of September with 7 points, I know we've got another game in the meantime, but still, if we got to the end of September with 7 points, we'd be quite chuffed with ourselves, and we're at 7 points. So
yeah, I was gonna say it's almost as if they're playing with house money, but I think that'd be probably a little bit too sort of like harsh in saying that they're sort of like pissing about us for that. But
I think kind of similar to what we said last year.
If you'd have said, obviously, at the start of the season, by the end of September, you'll have more points on the board than you did last season, and you'll be in the top half, I'm assuming you'd have snapped my hand off right away.
Well, I think I said in the preview podcast that if people had any spare cash, that it might be worth putting some money on Steve Cooper being the first manager sacked, because that was my worry.
Yeah.
But we've got to once again we're bedding in 11 players or something like that, however many we signed. We'll see how it goes.
Aye. Predictions-wise, myself, I'd gone for a 1-0 Forest win with a 1 to score. Andy had gone for a 2-0 Forest win with a 1 and Wood to score. Matt had gone for a 2-1 Forest win with a 1 and Elanga to score for Forest and Trezor to score for Burnley. Mr. Woodmansey, however, had gone for a 2-2 draw on this one. Yates and Gibbs-White to score for Forest, Foster and Berg, or Berge, as they were calling him on Sky Sports, I noticed, to score for Burnley. So Mr. Woodmansey gets himself a point for the correct result there. So, moves himself on to 4 points for the week, along with myself. Matt on 2, Andy sadly still gets a score. Our 5th game of the week took us back to Sheffield. I say back to Sheffield. We haven't been to Sheffield yet this week, but it took us to Sheffield, where Sheffield Wednesday took on Middlesbrough. I have absolutely no idea what possessed Sky to put this on TV, as it turned out to be 23rd playing 24th. Oh, good God. To say this was woefully inept would be to be generous to it. The first half was one of the worst halves of football I think I've ever seen Middlesbrough play. All over the shop. So many loose passes, so many misplaced passes, a lot of time where players are just running around aimlessly with no sort of direction. The left back looks completely out of his depth. He was taken off at half time because he was just getting tortured down the Wednesday right hand side. There are major issues at Borough that need fixing. They actually started the game okay. No real chances at either end. Wednesday ended up taking the lead. Josh Winders actually got injured in a coming together with Hayden Hackney quite early on in the first half. And he actually got a booking because he kind of tried to. He felt like the ball was there to be won, and he almost sort of went through Hackney to try and win it, but he was very late getting there. He almost felt like he left a little bit on Hackney, and I thought it was quite rightly booked. But he tried to play on, injured himself in the process, making the challenge, couldn't play on, and his replacement, Musaba, was the guy who popped up in the box at the right time to score the goal. The ball was played down the right-hand side. Strangely enough, this time, not on the left back, it was on Josh Coburn, who was tracking back. Didn't get tight enough to the guy who was cutting in the right-hand side. The ball was played into the box where Musaba found himself near the penalty spot unmarked, just to stick it home for 1-0, and the 9th time this season that Middlesbrough have played a game and gone behind. In case you keep count, that's 100% of the games they've played. They actually reacted quite well to it. Obviously, they went in 1-0 down at half time, made the change. Isaiah Jones came on to the left back, Lucas Engel. Bit of a reshuffle. The guy who was playing right back went to left back, and Isaiah Jones slotted in at right back. He kind of changed the game, to be fair. He was everything positive. The Brad going forward.
Here's what I found.
No one asked you a goddamn thing. And it was his sort of industry that led to the equaliser. He won a corner for Borough, and Adrian O'Brien took it. The ball was swung in, and Darrell Lenihan had managed to make his way up from the back. He managed to get on the end of it and stab the ball in from the edge of the 6-yard box. At first glance, it looked as if it was Coburn that had scored, but it was actually Darrell Lenihan who got on the end of it. And in the second half, it was pretty much all Borough. Josh Coburn had a great chance to win it about 70 minutes in, where he bullied their centre half off the ball, cut back onto his right, and then rather than he was on the edge, he was kind of on the edge of the box, and he was in a position where he kind of needed to almost finish it in a similar style to Hudson-Odoi, put some curl on it. But he just put his laces through it, so the ball was going to fade away from the goal rather than in towards the goal. A couple more chances in there. Borough did have it in the ball in the back of the net, but it was Matt Crooks again actually. But this time he was flagged as offside, and it was offside. This one actually, the linesman or the referee's assistant on this game was actually open. His eyes were open this time, so he did correctly flag for the offside. And that one, Sheffield Wednesday could have won it right at the death. There was a guy who was free on the edge of the box, just completely missing his shot wide of the post. And it eventually panned out to a 1-1 draw. So, sadly, both teams are still looking for their first league win of the season. Stuart gone for a 1-0 Borough win on this one, with Latte Laugh to score the goal. No points there. Andy had gone 2-0 with Latte Laugh and fours. Sadly, no points there. I'd gone 2-1. Windass to score for Wednesday, fours, and Coburn to score for the Borough. And no points there. Mr. Moore, however, had gone for a 1-1 draw. 2 points right there. Bannon and Latte Laugh to score the goals, so sadly no bonus points. I'm just going to rattle through these last couple of games, as no one needs to do anything with the next bit of information I'm going to give everyone. Derby County versus Lincoln City in the EFL Trophy. Derby won the game 2-0 with Barkhazen and Sibley. Everyone's worst nightmare on the podcast, because it now means we've got the Derby's games for the next couple of weeks until someone beats them. Come on, Carlisle, you're our only hope. We'll flash forward to next week's predictions. No one. Oh no, I tell a lie. I picked the 1-1 draw. Neither of the goal scorers. Matt had picked a 2-1 win for Lincoln, but didn't have the goal scorers. Andy had gone for a 3-0 win for Lincoln, but sadly no goal scorers. Stu had picked a 1-0 Derby County win, but didn't pick the goal scorers, so got himself a bonus point there. So, as we go into the last game, I'm on 4 points. Stu is on 5 points. Matt is also on 4 points. Andy, still to get off the mark, sadly, on 0 points. Now, our last game is Hull City versus Leeds United, the game where Mr. Woodmansey was in attendance once again. The game has only just finished within the last sort of 15-20 minutes or so, and sadly it was a 0-0 draw. Seemed like a bit of a drab, sort of dreary affair here, where nothing really sort of went on. From what I saw of it, Hull should really have won this game, as in about the 88th minute, Adama Traore was clean free in the middle of the box. Don't even think the keeper was there, and he somehow managed to hit the post from maybe about 2 or 3 yards out. One of the worst misses I think I've ever seen. When Mr. Woodmansey is back on the podcast, we will of course ask him to break that one down for us. But from a predictions perspective, Andy had gone for a 4-0 Hull win, so sadly no points there. Stuart had gone for a 2-1 Leeds win, so no points for Mr. Woodmansey. Matt had gone for a 1-1 draw, so point for Matt. I had gone for a 2-2 draw, so point for me. All that means is that after 7 games, sadly Andy scored no points, but Matt 5 points. So it's another tied week from a predictions perspective. Whoa, week 8 is upon us, where there are 5 games to predict. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. You don't need to do anything, as the feed will just carry straight on. But we're going to take a small break before we bring you week 8 predictions.
Recording in progress.
Quite. So, week 8 predictions start with a trip for Nottingham Forest to the Etihad to take on treble-winning Manchester City. This game last season produced quite a few goals. Will we see something similar this season, I wonder? It's Mr. Moore's team, so he will go last. I do have myself and Mr. Woodmansey's predictions already in this book. So why don't we go to Mr. Cook for his predictions first, and then I will give mine and Stu's accordingly.
It's one of those situations where I try and be the positive light, the beacon of positivity on this podcast. Week in, week out, it smacks me in the face. I've given a goal because he's in the room. I haven't given the win, unfortunately. It's 2-1 to Man City. I've gone with Haaland and Foden.
Haaland and Foden. Haaland, that shit bastard. Your Forest goal scorer?
A 1-ye.
Incredibly, myself and Stu have both gone for pretty much bang on the same score and scorers. We've both gone 4-1 City. We've both picked a 1-ye to score for Forest. We've both put Haaland to score twice. I've got Alvarez to score twice. Stu's got Alvarez and Foden for the other two. Matt, how's it going to actually pan out?
I've gone for a 3-1 Manchester City win.
Yeah.
With Haaland, Alvarez and Doku.
Haaland. Alvarez. Jeremy Doku. And your Forest goal score?
A full house for this one. I've gone a 1-ye. I think Forest will go and they'll have the phrase that everybody, the low block and well, yeah, don't go there and get stuffed. That's what the kind of objective is. And 3-1 objectively could be a stuffing, but I think with the players that they've got and the team that they can put out there, it'll be the 5 at the back, 3 in midfield, and go from there. But yeah, you just trying not to get stuffed, basically.
Yeah, I mean that's basically how most teams have to turn up at City these days, isn't it? Just sort of kind of pray that they're not going to get just shot to pieces, basically.
Yeah.
Next game sees Middlesbrough take on Southampton. Obviously, it's my team, so I will give my prediction last. Stu's gone in with a 0-0 draw on this one. Having looked at the form, obviously Borough still to get off the mark win-wise in the league this season. Southampton, however, have lost the last 3. Included in that is a 5-0 loss away at Sunderland and a 4-1 loss at home to Leicester. Don't know if that's going to sway you in any way, lads, but Matt, what have you got for this?
It did kind of sway me. Obviously, I don't rate them. I don't rate Southampton's manager because he's done the square root of what, apart from Swansea. So I've gone for a 2-1 Borough win.
What?
It's our back. I think the springboard of the 1-1 draw and coming back.
Yeah.
Last
Go
night.
Stormers.
Crooks and McCree.
Crooks. McGree. And he goes score for Southampton?
Good North East lad. Adam Armstrong.
fresh from his trip to Milan, no doubt, because, you know, apparently every man and his dog who's from Tyneside probably was in Milan this week. Andy?
Again, a Borough bounce back 2-0.
I mean, you and Stu have both gone for Borough to not concede. At some point, you are going to have to get that brain checked. I'm just saying. Goal scorers, please.
Latte Laugh and Falls.
Sadly, I don't see this getting any better for the Borough at the moment. Too many players are off the pace. So I've gone for a 2-1 Southampton win. You might argue this is a perfect time to play Southampton as they're in absolutely rotten form. But Borough are in absolutely rotten form. So, like, where do you draw the line? I've gone for Latte Laugh to score for the Borough, Adams and Armstrong to score for Southampton. You'd like to think there's a win coming somewhere, but I honestly couldn't tell you. Really couldn't tell you where it's coming from, because all I'm seeing at the moment is desperately bad football. Our next game takes us over to Cumbria, where Carlisle United take on, and I'm going to say this very, very lightly and with absolutely no want in my mouth, Andrew Cook's Derby County. Sounds bad, doesn't it? It doesn't sound right. So Andy's team, shudder, we'll come to him last. Matt, what have you got for this one?
1-0 Carlisle.
Goal scorer.
Garner.
Is that ex-Forest doing the business? Is that what you're hoping for?
Is that Joe Garner, is it?
I believe it's that Joe Garner.
Oh, fingers crossed then. I just went with it because it reminded me of Joe Garner. And I knew he played at Carlisle for a bit. But I wasn't sure whether he was still playing.
Yeah, I think it's him, unless it's just a new youth lad. I'm on the similar boat to you. I've gone for a 2-1 Carlisle win. I've gone for Garner. If it's not the same, then, you know, hopefully he's channeling his inner Joe Garner, shall we say. And Guy. That's not me just saying, like, whoever scores, I'll just have the point. It's got to be scored by Guy. G-U-Y on his back. And I've gone for Collins to score for Derby. Stu, obviously, has been keeping his Derby tattoo very, very sort of well concealed from us, as he's gone for a 1-0 Derby win. And I think he's only gone and picked a bloody ex-Hull player to score, with Elder to get the goal. There's a reason he's not on the podcast, and it's because of disgusting behaviour like this. That's why.
He's Derby to win twice.
He's a filthy bastard. Is what he is. Is what it is.
He'll defend it by saying he's reverse jinxing, but we know what it is.
That could be it. How are your boys going to get on?
Stu's been hiding that Derby tattoo on that area that's, you know, not his arm. It's under the t-shirt.
Couldn't exist. It's an imaginary place.
As I may have offline alluded to, I have a form of connection to this team, and because of that, I am happy to be a supporter. So it's a 1-0 Carlisle win for me, please. Maguire to score.
Lovely stuff. Our next game is a basic connection back to Mr. Muller, even though it's not his team. It's Stoke City versus Hull City. This one, live on Sky Television on 12 p.m. on Sunday. It's Mr. Woodmansey's team. I will give his prediction last. I'll jump straight in here. I've gone for a 1-1 draw on this one. I've gone for Wesley to score for Stoke and Delap to score for Hull. Andy, what have you got for this one?
If you take the Stoke goal scorer out of your prediction, it's exactly the same. It's 1-0 to Hull with Delap scoring that there goal.
Very, very nice. Matt?
I've gone for a 2-1 Hull win.
Excellent. Goal scorer for Stoke?
Vidigal?
What?
Vidigal. Vidigal.
Is he in the squad?
Oh, I don't know.
He didn't play tonight. Let me just have a quick check and see if he played on Saturday. What, what's his name again?
Vidigal. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's in the squad anywhere. I wasn't in the squad today either.
Oh. I'm seeing news of injury news.
Ah! Damn it.
I'll put a player
Berger,
that is injured.
Berger.
I'm laughing because Stu may have also picked that guy to score, but I'll go into it later on. Your 2 goal scorers for Hull or your
Delap and Connolly.
Connolly? Yes. So Mr. Woodmansey did make me laugh earlier in the week when he sent me his predictions, as he's gone for a 1-0 Stoke win with, and I swear to God this is this guy's name, Wouterberger. So there's a guy who plays for Stoke, and his name is basically the franchise Whataburger. That is absolutely fantastic. If it turns out he's a hell of a player, I want him at the Borough. Because I just love that name. Whataburger.
It's a burger.
So, 4 games down, 1 game to go, and it is League Cup football. Specifically, 3rd round League Cup football. And it takes us to West Yorkshire, where Bradford City will be taking on Middlesbrough. Not only will this game not be broadcast live on TV, but it will be attended in person by this man right here, taking in my first Middlesbrough game of the season. What the hell am I doing? It's my team. I will give my prediction last. I'll just jump in straight here with Stu's prediction. He has gone for a 1-0 Bradford City win. He does not care about me one little bit. He has gone for a Foker to score for Bradford. I would probably say why he's picked that, but that might get us taken off certain platforms, as you can probably make your own sort of mind up as to what AFOKA could also sort of sound like. Matt?
I've gone for 2-1 Borough win.
Goal scorers?
Walker for Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Roger?
Rogers.
Yeah. And Latte Leith.
say last. Andy?
Nice, simple, easy 1-0 Borough win.
Goal scorer?
I wanted to mix it up. I wanted a different goal scorer, so I went with somebody that's almost definitely not even in the squad. Silvera.
Very much in the squad. Very, very wasteful last night. Very bad. Looked way short of league pace, let's put it that way. I've gone, stupidly, for a 2-0 win for Borough. I'm reading it and I'm like, I honestly don't quite believe it myself. I honestly think I'm going to go to a game where Middlesbrough aren't going to, 1, concede, and 2, concede the first goal in the game. I've gone for Barlaser to score and Rodgers to score, as for some reason Barlaser's pissed on someone's chips in the coaching staff because he ain't getting a look in at all at the minute. So he's either really, really shit or they just don't like him, because that team at the minute is god awful. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are your Week 8 predictions in the bag. Thank you to Mr. Cook and Mr. Moore joining me as always to go through the week of games. Join us again. Or have you got some stuff?
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be the podcast without a bit of Forest transfer news.
Oh, bloody hell. Go on.
Well, if there's a transfer window open somewhere, we're going to find some way of either selling someone or buying someone. So, since last week, Emmanuel Dennis has left the building to go on loan to the club in Turkey.
Okay.
And Julian Bianconi has moved to Olympiacos.
Is that one a permanent?
Yeah, that one's a permanent one. It was unfortunate. He did his cruciate ligament in the League Cup early on, I think, something like that. Didn't really get a look in, and has just fallen down the pecking order and is off to Olympiacos. Apparently a really popular guy around the club. Like, everybody, he was on everybody's, and I know it's not the most important thing, but when they stayed up, he was on everybody's Instagram video celebrating and stuff like that, and they all seemed to really like him. But yeah, so those two players are out of the building, and now I'm hoping that there genuinely will not be any more Forest transfer news, but you never know.
We'll cross our fingers, ladies and gentlemen, and keep them crossed until at least January the 1st. Thank you, Mr. Moore, for giving us that little update. Sadly, there's no update from a Borough perspective, as, why would there be? Join us again next week, where we'll go through the games that we've just predicted. You'll probably be able to tell within the first 8 seconds of the podcast how my evening at Bradford went. But yes, until then, ladies and gentlemen, keep safe, and we'll see you next week. Ta-ta for now.
So there we go, what do you think to that? Another one done, another set of games gone, another set of games to come. So many games. Oh, all that football. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, thank you for being here. If you want to be more of a part of the crew, click like, click share, click subscribe. Check out the website, it's thecookiecast.com. There you can check out our social media links and email button. You can get in touch with us however you want. That is it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to these grumpy old men talk about football. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe.